Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening from wherever you are seeing me live. Thank you so much for coming and joining me. So I'd request everyone to just keep on commenting and communicating with me so that even I know that you are there, and I'm going to give you some different kinds of insights today on this particular training which I've brought for you, which is content that connects. And just to make a note that prior to coming to this topic, I had done a poll. I had done a poll with my audience asking for what topic they wanted to cover me in this particular training. So the maximum vote was for leads. Second was content. Then it was sales and objection handling. But I wanted to make sure that the foundations are right. So I'm starting here with the content part. Consecutively, we'll be talking more about leads, sales, objection handling. There are so many topics to be covered during this organic strategies, which I'm covering in bits and pieces in this particular short form of training. So the topic here is content that connects. And I again thank you everyone for joining me live. Whoever is live, you can just keep on commenting #live, or maybe who is not able to watch this live training, they can afterwards they can watch it. They can put #replay or recording so that even I know who has watched in during the live session and who is watching the recording. So once again, I welcome you, and without wasting any time further, I'll be just jumping on this particular topic, which is content that connects. So what is the purpose of connecting and doing all this? Let's understand the fact that purpose of content creation. What is the purpose of content creation, and why do you want to create content? As simple as that. So here now, I would say on this digital platforms, pre-pandemic, the traffic was comparatively lesser, I would say. During pandemic and post-pandemic, it has gone like crazy. Everybody wants to be digitally present and want to do something, especially I would say business. Right now, what do you want? Why do you want to create content? Because the most precious currency as of now on this digital world is attention. Everybody wants attention of their audience. So the purpose of the content you should keep in mind. First of all, what is the purpose of the content which you are creating? The purpose is to get attention. And how you will be getting attention? By connecting with people. So that is why I brought this particular topic, content that connects. I hope you'll like it. So this is just a diagram where I'm showing you that we want connections. We want to get people connected with us, right? Because we want their attention. Assuming that there are ideal customers or there are probable customers, and sooner or later we'll be able to serve them, we'll be able to help them, right? Now, what are the two major factors behind human connections? Number one, I'll tell you. So again, this is a diagram which shows that how humans get connected. I think you'd be loving it as well. So number one is a personal reason, and second is a professional reason. So when I say personal reason and professional reason, can you name anything else? Because we are human beings, and let's say if we have to divide ourselves into two parts related to work, it would be either personal or professional, nothing else. Everything is covered into this. So this is quite obvious. But again, when I define this, you'll be able to understand what I'm trying to tell you and why this is important to understand. What are the basic two connection factors for us, for anybody to get connected on this platform, right? So let's go ahead. What do you mean by personal? And what do you mean by professional? For any connection, we should be having a reason behind it. You know that well. Everybody, every work, everything happens with a reason. And what is the reason? As I said, the reason is you want to get noticed. You want to get attention. Now, there is a principle I want to talk about, which is called mere exposure effect, or the familiarity principle. So what is all about this principle? This principle is a psychological phenomenon which says that people tend to develop a preference for things merely because they are familiar with them. And I'll give you an example for this. Let's say you want to go to a doctor. You'd be going to a doctor whom you are familiar with. You'll be going to that particular shopping mall or shopping complex or even a theater where you have already explored and you have got some better things you are already familiar with. You want to do business similarly with somebody who is already familiar, with whom you are already familiar with, right? You cannot do a transaction with somebody who is entirely unknown. Yes, I'm not talking about the exceptions like, going to buy a railway ticket or something like that, or a movie ticket. You don't need to build a relationship there. This is just a commercial transaction which is happening. But here, when we are talking about coaching and businesses to longer values, here that is very much important. Understand, even if you are going to put your children to a school, you want to get them in the best school which is fitting in your budget, and you want to explore that school, what is it doing and how it has performed in the earlier days, right? So everything comes under this philosophy of familiarity. So mind it, this mere exposure effect is one of the key parameters before connection. So here what you have to keep in mind, that everybody, whoever is there in this world, wants to get connected to somebody or do a transaction with whom they are familiar with, right? So that is why this principle is also called familiarity principle. Got it? So moving ahead. Now, this is a graph which shows exposure versus preference. So x-axis is exposure and the y-axis is preference. So the more you are exposed to something, the more the more is the preference. You're getting the curve, right? This is actually, I would say, preference is directly proportional to exposure. I would write here as well. So preference is directly proportional to exposure, right? So the more you are exposed to somebody, the more you would be liking to work. If you don't know that person, definitely you're not going to work with that person. So there is no transaction gonna happen, whether it is personal and professional. Now let's talk about, so let me highlight it for better reference. Okay. So preference is directly proportional to exposure. You got that right? Fine. Now let's talk about what I mean by saying personal connect. So whenever there is something personal that is derived by or that is governed by your emotional connect. Let's say we're talking about friendship, love, family, anything which is very much emotionally connected with us, right? There is not gonna be happening any commercial transaction, but there is emotional transactions going on when we are making an emotional connect. So that comes under the personal thing. And when we say professional, it is about the connect which is being happening because of the expertise of the person in front, right? So when I say expertise, let's say you are going to a doctor, a lawyer, a CA, a coach, or anybody. You are doing a professional transaction. Somebody is authorized to do that. Or even I just give you an example of, buying railway tickets, or you don't have to build a relationship. That is a commercial transactions happening with a nominal amount of time, and that is more mechanical in nature. Mind it, there are two different things. One, you go to a shop, buy something without building a relationship. That is maybe your household things, groceries, and anything. Right there, you don't need to make a relationship with that person. But even eventually, if you start buying something from one particular shop, you will be developing a relationship, and you will be preferring to go to that shop from where you have been buying. That is very natural, right? So when I'm saying professional, this is more about a connection which is built because of your expertise, which you have developed over a period of time by virtue of experience, knowledge, and education, whatever it is, right? So is it okay? The connection between personal and professional. Now, emotional connect, how does it happen? Emotional connect happens through your stories. So let me again highlight this to make you clear what I mean. So emotional connections happen through your stories. My friends, stories are, I always say, I think in most of my sessions, when I talk about content or anything, I talk about this connections. Stories are the shortest distance between two hearts, and when you start telling stories, people get emotionally connected. And when I say stories are always from your past. Mind it, you cannot create stories for your future. Yes, you can definitely assume it, but when I say stories, these are your past stories which you have to share with your audience to get emotional connect with them, right? Now let's decode this emotional part through different types of post content. Now coming to the core subject which is there, we are talking about what content that connects. Now how this emotional content are going to get you connected with your audience, or your audience are going to get connected with you, right? So that's the part. So let's understand how this emotional thing works, right? So here, when I'm saying emotional connect, That means you have to do what? You have to create certain content, certain posts which are emotional in nature, right? When I say emotional in nature, what does it mean? Something which is uh, very much towards your heart, something which connects people more strongly. So let's now, when I give you example, you'll be better understand, right? So I'm not going to get into more of theories. I'm actually giving an example of what I have done in my journey and how it has helped me creating those content to get more and more people knowing me and interacting with me, engaging on my content. So first of all is this, which I call vulnerability post. I'll just, increase the size of it so that it's vulnerability post. What do you mean by vulnerability post? This is something which is secret to you and very personal to you. And most of the people don't try to even share this kind of a things on this social media, right? But again, I have a different thought. I always say, as an individual, you cannot be differentiated from your personal and professional life. You are there as an individual, right? So whatever you're doing in your personal life is getting affected in a professional life as well. So you cannot be differentiated by a customer saying that this person is different, this professional person is different. You have to be one. And that is why this oneness is very much required for your audience also to know what you're doing in your personal life. So this vulnerability post is somewhat very secret and people normally don't want to share. But this has the greatest impact on your content and engagement part, right? So let's say I'm giving some example of my own. I'll also share what I have done. So this is one of my posts which I had shared on 8th of May. That was the death anniversary of my father. And out of my emotion, I wrote this post. This post got 70 comments. And you can see almost 80 plus likes and shares. Sorry, likes and loves and reactions, I would say. So any comment which is getting 70, any post which is getting 70 comments, that means people are engaging with you, right? So what is this? You can go and I'll also show you what I have done. So I have just put in here this clipping of the post which I have shared here, right? The entire post is there in my profile. I'll just share you that as well. If you go to my profile, go to my posts, you will see all these posts are there. So taking some time, no issues. So I wanted to show that is from 8th of May. So just down. So what I wanted to tell you that these are the things which I have done. I have done in my own journey when I have started doing coaching. And these are the things which has made me different from anybody else. So there is a myth which I'll try to sort it out today is you don't have to create something out of your world. There's a lot of things inside your world as well, right? So here what you have to do is, I'll just share this thing. A post which I was just referring about when I wrote my father's, the emotion which I was, carrying in my head, and I wanted to write it. And I was actually not aware that this is going to have that kind of interaction, but actually it happened and it opened my mind. Actually, I was learning from my mentor as well, but theoretical learning and practical doing, that these are altogether different, things. So when I was really uh, mind blown when I saw that, okay, on this particular post, there are a lot of people who are interacting so much. So this is what I wanted to show you. So that is why I've got a clipping, because it takes time to go to that particular post. Yeah, this is the post. You can see 8th of May, I have written this post, and this post is there live in my profile as well, which got 70 comments and more than 80 reactions, right? So this is what I wanted to tell you. So anything which is very emotional, correct? Now let's go back to my thing. Let's go to another post. Again, I'm talking about, I come from a village and I'm proud of it. So why I'm talking about it? Because now most of the people people prefer to live in cities, metro cities, or even 2-tier and 3-tier cities, but people don't prefer to live in villages. But since I come from a village, I found this is something very differentiator and people should know about me. That I spend a lot of time at my village, even yearly, twice or thrice, I go there for some good amount of time, stay there, connect with people. So I'm talking about that. I come from a village, I'm proud of it. So this is what people don't know. This is the vulnerable part of it. Nobody is concerned what I'm doing, but people are really interested to know, okay, this is one of the part which people don't know about me. So this is the vulnerable part which I wanted to share. Now, this is another post about my wedding anniversary. When I completed 23 years of my wedding, these are the two photos which I shared. And this has got 214 comments and more than 217 reactions, right? So what is this? People want to know who are you as a person. People want to know what journey you have covered. So when I wrote this, I was really mind blown, as I said, 214 comments. This is kind of a viral post, right? People were interacting and wishing us like anything. So what I'm trying to tell you here is, these are the types of vulnerability posts which I'm showing. These are the things which normally people want to keep secret out of their own thing, right? But here you don't have to. You have to be very open towards it. Now here again, I'm talking about when I had my first baby, right? I was actually a college student when I got married. Very few people know about this story about me. But anybody who has gone through this particular post of mine, they know about my story, right? They know how things, shaped up in my career, in my life, what happened. So that is a kind of a story which was talking, and that was a real story of my own life. You don't need to create any story. Everybody has multiple stories out of their own lives which they can put in the form of content. So this is one of them. So this post got 38 comments and more than 125 reactions. Can you see this? Right? So these are the examples of some vulnerability posts which I'm talking about. I've given 3-4 posts here for the sake of example, and all these posts are there in my profile. You can go there and check how these things are performing. Right? Now moving towards another type of post, which is transformation post. Transformation post is about talking about your transformation you had in your life, like it's before and after kind of a thing, right? So here, let's say I'm talking about a transformation post where I'm talking about from an engineer to a coach, right? How I transformed from being an engineer and now I'm working as a coach. So there has been lots of transformation during this journey, and how I went through that journey, this is talking about that. So people want to know about your journey. That is what I'm saying. People are very much interested to know what you have done personally and professionally. So this is a transformation post which people, relate to it. Now, there are a lot of people who are leaving their jobs, moving towards their own entrepreneurship journey. They want to see and know what you have done. So they kind of correlate with you. They relate with their own journey. That this person is again an engineer. He was doing a job, or he has started his own entrepreneurship journey. Now he has moved to coaching. So I can also do that. So these things resonate with them very well. So this is one of the posts which has got 55 comments and more than 58, around 60 reactions, right? So this is one of the transformation posts. Going again, next is another thing. My friends used to call me Guruji. So, everybody has a friend circle, and we all have been learned enough to understand that there is a friend circle at every stage of our lives, education system especially, whether it is school, college, graduation, masters, whatever it is. So my friends used to call me Guruji. This is again a very nice book. I thought it would be. And again, this is about a transformation journey. How being a student, I was teaching my colleagues and friends. So this is again a transformation post which I shared, and it has got 43 comments and around 60 reactions, right? See the amount of interaction and engagement people are doing on this kind of a post. That is the purpose. What I'm trying to tell you is, I'm showing you the purpose of creating this kind of a content, because we want our content to get connections, engagements. We want our audience to see what we are doing. We wanted to get our audience engaged with our content. We want their attention to be there on our content. Otherwise, it will go for waste. So the purpose is to get engagement, interaction. That is what it is doing. Moving towards. So now I have completed this personal part. So only I have done two things. Mind it, just to make a note, if you want to take a note of it. I have done only two categories of personal part, which is through emotions. One is the vulnerability post. Second is your transformation post, right? So these are the two things which I would like you also to do to get more and more engagement on your posts, right? So this too comes under the emotional part or the personal part, right? Now let's move on to the next thing. Now, when I say connecting through expertise, expertise connect. Expertise connect happens how? Through different kinds of posts again. Now, this kinds of connection happens through a tangible outcome you generate. So when I say tangible outcome, it has to be something which you can measure, right? Something which you can scale up. So let's now decode this different types of post for the same, where you are talking about some expertise, connection through your expertise. So the number one is value post. People talk about it very much, but now let's understand what it is. Value post. Value post means something which you are giving your audience as a value to do. Like, I'll give you an example. How to use simplicity in closing coaching clients. This was one of my posts which I wrote here, and I'd made it very simple. Ask these simple and powerful questions to your customers and they'll get converted. This particular post got 36 comments and something around 30 plus reactions. So what I'm doing, I'm giving some kind of a value to my audience to directly implement. I'm giving them, okay, these are few questions you should be asking to your audience when you are on a coaching call closing or a sales call, right? So this kind of a actionable things which you give to your customers comes under the purpose and the category of value post. Did you get that? Don't just preach, because now I'll tell you there are so many things which is going around. There are AI tools from where you can generate. Already we had search engines where you can go and find all these things. The differentiator is people want to know what you are doing. People don't want to know what is there. It's already there. People can go and search it. People are interested in you. So you have to make them even more interested with your value contents or different kind of a contents where they understand you as a person, you as a professional, so that they start engaging with your content. Getting the point? Okay, let's move to another kind of a post. Hand raise post. Hand raise post is something like, okay, I'm doing something, who wants it? So this is kind of a hand raise post. So I, few weeks, I think on 30th June, I did a post where I was saying that I'm giving away super powerful 3 duct system for organic lead generation, which I created for my paid clients. Who wants the link? So this is kind of a hand raise post, right? So hand raise post means you are asking for something and people are ready to take it. So this kind of a post, and you see the reactions. There are around 40 reaction and 81 comments out of this post. That means these many people are getting engaged. You are able to draw the attention towards your content. Mind it, right? Moving next. Again, did a similar hand raise post saying that I did a training on how to create magical contents without any hassle. Who wants it? Hashtag me. And there is a emoji which is pointing towards the downwards, going to click on something like that, right? Or hashtag, putting comment as hashtag me. So this is again a hand raise post where I got 45 comments and around 20 reactions, right? Moving again. So this is the latest one. This, you can see there, it is written 10 hours. Yesterday night, I took this screenshot, right? And I said that I have already made 4.5K in 10 days and I'm going to be making $10K this month. Feeling blessed, wish me luck. And see, there are 100 reactions and 85 comments. I just crossed more than 100 now. This was yesterday night, 10 hours back. That's it, right? So how many people have interacted on this? See, these kind of posts are keeping your audience engaged with you. So what do you want? Don't try to write big paragraphs and big stuffs. Write short and crisp. Maybe there are again long form and short form contents which I'll be covering sometime later, or into my program I do cover it. But here what I'm trying to tell you is, what do you want is engagement. What do you want? Connection with your audience. So a simple post like this, which will hardly take 2 minutes of your time, can give you this kind of an engagement on your post, right? Okay. Again, I did a 100 post saying that onboarded one more client for my one-on-one personal handholding and mentoring, feeling blessed. And this has also got 68 comments and more than 83 reactions, around 85, 86. Right? See the power of this kind of a post. That is what I'm trying to tell. Again, I'm talking about, so, okay, I think this would come under my result post. Anyway, so I'm talking about celebrating my client result, right? My client got her first client sale just after the first call, totally insane. This has got 25 comments. Now it has also increased and around more than 60 reactions. Again, this is a result post which I have shown. So I had given something. Actually, he was not my client, but I had mentioned something and he applied it and he got results. So he was in the midst of something, midst of closing a client. And in the meantime, I shared something which that person, he really liked it and it worked for him. Later on, he also thanked me for that. So this kind of a post, again, you can see there are 50 comments on this and more than 42 reactions here, right? Again, onboarded one more client for my exclusive one-on-one. This has got 58 comments and more than 67 reactions. So I'm trying to tell you that anything which you are doing is going to create some impact in a customer's. Now, this is one kind of a result post which I have done. I was invited as a chief guest on a platform which was for Magnetic Storyteller Hubs. So I shared this as a post into my profile and that has got 48 comments and more than 67 reactions. So anything which is coming to you as a result, right? You have to show it, your result or your client results, right? Now, again, testimonial again comes in the form of a result also. Somebody wrote, I made a post out of it and this got 56 comments and more than 50 reactions. Now, I published a book which I wanted to show to the world and this particular post also got 57 comments and you can see more than 172 reactions in the form of likes. So what is happening? People are engaging with my content and that is what the purpose is, right? So there are multiple things. Now, another kind of a post which I want to see. So here what I have covered is, here I have covered your value post. Okay. Then I'll just hand raise post I have covered. I'll just go by backend. Value post was one. Second was my hand raise post, which I'll again highlight for you to understand. Now the third type of post was result of achievement post, which I missed to mention, but this is a result post or it should be either your post or your mentee's results, right? So you can have multiple posts under this category as well. Then moving forward, any special thing which you have achieved, testimonial again is a part of that or something special which you have done. Then comes your belief shifting post. Belief shifting post is something which breaks the belief of your normal audience. So I have given a post here. It was about investment in my own learnings. There are people who normally fear investing in their own learnings and that this is a misbelief. People want to learn everything for free. But what belief shift I had, that is what I have mentioned in this post and which is really true. The more you invest in yourself, the more you will be eager to get results out of that. And because of which you will be putting more and more efforts. So that was a belief shift in my mind when I thought, okay, without investing, is there any possibility where people can work and get results? I was of that opinion, yes, people can get results. But when I invested in myself, when I learned from my mentor, he told me, and it is very practical now that people who are not investing in their own learning, they're not going to take actions and they're not going to get results. So this is about a belief shift which I had in my mind, and I mentioned that as a post, and this post also got 47 comments and more than 40 reactions. Similarly, I wrote a post about sugar coating your contents. Again, this is a belief shift. People think that, okay, we are going to decorate our post in such a wonderful manner that people are going to come and watch it. No, that's not required. Again, that is a belief shift. I put it very raw. And people are really happy interacting with raw things rather than polished things. If you can do it professionally, nothing like it. I'm not against that. But I'm saying people want to see the vulnerable part of it. Again, even if you're doing something raw, that's okay. People are more interested in your content rather than sugar coating with other stuffs. So this was one of the belief shifts which I had in my mind, which I broke. And that post again got some good reactions, 33 comments and more than 34 reactions, right? Again, I put something like opportunities. Again, this was a belief shift. Opportunity. How do you create opportunities for yourself? Normally, what we do is we wait for opportunities to come to us. Actually, this is a, I think, myth or misbelief. You should be creating opportunities for yourself in whatever condition you are, right? And you can see multiple posts, circulating on different social media channels talking about the same thing in different words. So I put it in my words that you need to create your opportunities and grab it. Don't just wait for somebody to open doors for you. You have to create doors and open doors for you. So that was a belief shift which I had, and I kept it as a post, and that post also got some 44 comments and more than 36 reactions, right? And then comes the offer post. When you're in a business, you have to create some kind of an offers. So this is one of the offer which I did in the month of June for my customers, which was a mind-boggling offer where I was talking about some special benefits against the normal and regular program which I do. So there were multiple added advantage to it, which people got benefited. They enrolled in my program and they got this benefit as well. So this is kind of an offer post which got 40 comments, 1 share, and more than 43 reactions, right? So now I'll just summarize all this once again. I'll go through. I talked about what all things. I talk about content, which is creating the fundamental things as the principle becomes mere exposure effect or the familiarity principle, wherein I talked about exposure, preferences directly proportional to exposure. After that, I talked about personal connections through emotional things and professional connection through expertise things. Then I talked about within that personal emotional connect, I talked about vulnerability post, and there are multiple posts like this. Then I talked about transformation post. Then I talked about in the expertise connect, I talked about value post. Then I talked about hand raise post. Then I talked about result or achievement post. And next I talked about here it is this belief shift post, and the end I talked about the offer post, right? So if you categorize all this in simple terms, everything you have, you don't have to search anything. And the summary, if I talk about, so to summarize, what I want to tell you is you don't have to go anywhere. You just have to be a normal human. Be you, whatever you are. You have lots of content inside your own life, inside your own mind. Just think of putting it in that format, which this algorithm based format, which is required to put in. Be original. Don't try to impersonate somebody else. Don't try to copy somebody. Be a human, because human connects with human, and that is what people love. So that's all in this training. I once again would request you, people who are watching it live, just put in hashtag live, and people who are would be watching it later on, they can just put in replay when they are watching it, and just give your takeaways out of this training. I am looking forward for your another I would say this kind of a training again. I'll be, maybe next training would be on leads, because the poll says that as well. Thank you so much, and looking forward to, hope this training has given you lots of insights. I'd love you to hear the comments and the takeaways out of it. Thank you so much. Looking forward to it. Have a good day. Bye-bye.